So today on Project Shop, we are back on the AC compressor cutting machine. Now, yesterday I did successfully cut a stator open, and I learned a couple things very fast. One, definitely gonna have to have this set up a little more hands-free, okay? Which entails, eventually once I dial this in, I am gonna go back to the air thing, and I knew that kind of right from the get-go, but for now we'll utilize that. We want this thing to be production fast, you know what I'm saying? I don't need to be over here drilling it. Two, I need not to be holding my hand turning the plasma cutter on, so I did have a foot pedal in stock, so it's not going to cost me anything. I don't remember what I bought this for. I think I bought this and another one, and I went with the other one for the transformer press, because that needs to be hands-free. I like hands-free operations, but we're also going to stick an actual switch up here that I can just turn it on, and I can stand back and watch it do its thing and whatnot. Then I went and bought this adapter because this thing had this coming out of the bottom, okay, for that big red hose. So we're gonna put that in there so that we can put this in there with a valve. Actually, I'm gonna rob this valve because when this is open, it leaks. When it's closed, it don't. And I'm only gonna use that to drain the tank if there any moisture builds up. So we're gonna plug our air in here. This is a tank, it's gonna fill the reservoir. This is basically where we're gonna get our, you know, pressure out of. And then I got some T's. I'm gonna take the blow off. We're gonna, I think I'm gonna temporarily rob that gauge. I mean, I really don't need to know how much pressure I got, or we'll see if this one actually works. But I'm gonna come off of here with a T. That's a smaller size, okay. So I'm gonna have to T it and then T it again because we are gonna put the blow off valve back on here. But I want air on demand for the air motor, which eventually will go away. And then I want air for the plasma cutter right here. I just want one line going to this, and that'll be it. You know, I'll have the 220 coming in for the plasma cutter, wherever it's gonna be, and then one air line. I don't need two air compressors running like I did the other day. That's just kind of ridiculous. And then we're gonna work on, well, I'm gonna run this a little bit, and then I'm gonna start just to, in my mind, start thinking about how I'm gonna make that quick release. If I gotta take it off and make a couple little cuts, I just want it to come right out of there. I might even just put it in there with like spring tension or something, like it just clips in, you know? It doesn't need to be that, it really doesn't need to be that secure. It just needs to be in there and not move, you know, because it's gonna be standing off. And also, I learned something about the ground situation. I'm actually thinking about making a custom ground, taking a big, thick piece of copper wire, solid core, like a big one. I don't have any around here at the moment, but I was gonna run it around here and just put like a little spring doodad that I have. But that'll all come down the road. Right now, we're gonna focus on sorting out the air, and then we're gonna sort out mounting. I have a bunch of this stuff. I think I'm just gonna clamp it to here, and then we're gonna mount this piece of diamond plate up here. I'll cut this down a little bit. We'll mount it back here somewhere, maybe right here. But we'll leave it adjust. I don't want to make it permanent, and I don't want to weld onto this tube and compromise it. I mean, they've already welded to it, but I'd rather just clamp something to it. Plasma cutter's not that heavy. And we'll have the plasma cutter set up here, have everything kind of up and secure, and, you know, get this thing ready to be worked. And I also have another cart. We're gonna take it off of this ghetto cart and put it on a little heavier cart for now, until I find out where I'm gonna actually put this. I think I'm gonna put it right outside the door, like right back there, so it's outside, because this thing's gonna create smoke. I'll put one of them fans I just got up there and just blow the smoke away. But I don't necessarily want to be cutting inside the shop nonstop. So I'm gonna hit the time lapse. I'm gonna get the air sorted out real quick. And once I get that kind of dialed in, we're gonna mount the thing. And once we get it mounted, we're gonna figure, I thought I had another little piece of diamond plate. Yeah, I might go ahead and mount this up here. Just so that I can secure my valves too, because I'm gonna have, obviously this one is gonna turn it on. I don't even like this. I'm like over this already. I think I just might do 2 valves. Like set one for the speed I need, and then just have one where I hit it open. I think that's what I'm gonna do. All right, it's coming along nice. Now, I did run into an issue with the, where's it at? With that, it was missing some pieces, blowing air out the top. I tried to plug it, but then air was blowing out the bottom, so I had to eliminate those. If we need filters or whatever they are, I'll look into getting some of those or replacing those, but for now, we're just gonna run without it. And then I ran out of 1/4-inch hose barbs. I got a ton of this other size. You know, I needed the kind with the thread, which is no problem. I got enough here to where I could use this hose for the plasma cutter. This is rated at like 4,000 PSI. I think this is for like AC testing or something. But this is what we got. Okay, we got this plugged in here, and down here we got it plumbed in with a little blast off valve so we can drain any moisture that accumulates in here. Now this line here, once I mount the bracket for that, which I'm going to try to get it up here somewhere, I will tighten this up so it's up out of the way. And then up here, I just temporarily put this here. I'm gonna come right out of here with a line, and then this at the end of the line for the plasma cutter. It'll just be a little short whip, but this stuff is staying up out of the way. I got full rotation. This thing here, there we go. A little bend in the hose. It doesn't kink. And then what I did over here is I just notched out this, and I found these fit-ins, most of them. The air comes in and goes right back down to the air motor. And then what I have is I have this one here where you're gonna dial it in to your speed. This one you'll always just open all the way. And then this one, whatever speed you want. Hopefully we can get it to go that fast. That's interesting. I wonder how much pressure that took. I don't know if this gauge is right. My gauge over here, I think this compressor here goes to 120. We might have to jack up the pressure a little bit. But we did retain the blow off. Let me put that, because you know we're all about safety over here at Project Shop. We'll put that back on there. Okay, so far I'm pretty good with all that, man. And then now I'm gonna mount the plasma cutter first, and then I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do the switch. It seems like I just need to make a connection there to turn everything on. So I'll do it with one with this. I was gonna use a momentary switch. And I still might consider that, but I'm just going to put this switch right up in here, literally like right there, and then boom, I can turn the plasma cutter on. Well, I'll probably turn the air pump on first. You know, we'll turn that on, and then boom, I'll turn the plasma cutter on, and you know, it should be a good deal, man. We'll be ready for production work, and I'm gonna have to get the air cylinder for sure, because I don't want to be picking up a drill. I got to be able to do it hands-free. So that cylinder's like 300 bucks. I'm going to try to find one, either used or an off-brand one. It just has to have, I got to figure out what the original one is, and I can get parts for this whole thing. So I got to figure out what the original one was and the stroke, and maybe I can just get an aftermarket one. But I am going to have to get the foot pedal, and then this thing will be dialed, man. Now I was thinking about this arm. This arm is heavy, okay? So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make something that's a little less heavy for pushing into, because ultimately I could almost just set the compressor rate on this thing. I seen Empire of Dirt. I don't know what he had. It looked like an old tire machine or something. It just was grooves, and he just placed it down there and spun it. So, oh, and I got another great idea for the grounding. Okay, I did mention that I wanted to put a ring down here with something that just pushes up onto it, you know, and rides. So I got a solid ground, because I could see that being an issue. But we're gonna work all the kinks out, man. I mean, when I'm done with this thing, it is gonna be one heck of a stator cutting machine, and then I can work on the other portion that I want to do, because there's a whole nother setup that this machine can do that we're going to get into. But I'm super stoked about my air valve system for now. Now we're going to get on to wiring up or mounting the plasma cutter to the machine, and I think I'm just going to make a bracket out of this stuff. I don't want to weld to it. I don't want to make nothing permanent. Everything I've done so far, except for drilling the 2 holes for the self-tappers, is, you know, just in case I have to change something, I want to keep my options quickly available, not having to grind off weld. So with the bracket, the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to put it kind of high, but I'll be able to put it wherever I want. So I'm gonna grab a little drink real quick, and I'm gonna start making a bracket. All right, we're back on the AC compressor cutting machine. We got a nice little pile here to go through. Kind of give us a good bead on what we can expect to make out of this stuff. Where we left off is we did run it, but I need to put a whip on here to power this with air. We are having a single source line come fill this tank, so we have a little compressed air right on board, which is going to help with our air motor and the fact that we're running the plasma cutter, which takes a significant amount of air. Now, what we need to do is tap into this. Okay, so we are going to have to cut this line, which looks like that's all loose. Huh. That's that Chinese quality control. 5 generation. Okay. Looks like we just have two wires to contend with, so I'm gonna cut it probably over here somewhere so we have plenty of pigtail, and then I'm gonna utilize these quick clips and this and my switch wherever that went. Now I'll be able to, if I want to put a foot pedal, I don't think I want a foot pedal now that I've been thinking about it more and more. I want to set it up and be hands free, so we're just going to use a toggle switch on and off, and I'm going to set it up so that if I have to remove this plasma cutter for whatever reason, if I'm doing something else, until I get another plasma cutter, I'm going to make this easily removable. It's not going to be permanently mounted to this machine. So what I need to do is basically mount a block here or down here somewhere where I can bring the wires in and out. I'm going to figure all that out. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to need for the hose, which I had around here somewhere. Seems to have disappeared. I know I didn't have the right fitting, so we're going to have to go with a smaller hose, but I think for the plasma cutter that's going to be okay. I don't know, we'll have to see. So I'm going to hit the time lapse. I'm going to get that all sorted out, and then we'll come back and test it, and then we're going to work on making some type of quick release adjustable doohickey on this, and then we're going to start cutting. While I'm doing all that, I'm going to start draining these things down, get them prepped, because I did that live stream and I cut one of these things open. It was full of oil. That was a nightmare and a big mistake. So we definitely want to pre-drain these things beforehand, and we're going to have to come up with a process because it's got to move right along. I mean, I got to be able to knock a hole in the bottom, however I'm doing that with a plasma cutter or a drill, and then move right on to the next step. All right, this is what we got. I got this airline plumbed in. Now, this came off like some type of AC machine or something. It says 4,000 PSI, 275 bar burst. And it says 800 PSI again. I'm not really sure. 800 PSI, 55 bar max. I don't know what that means. But we're only running 100 and something PSI to this thing. I think it literally says 100 on there. So I'm good with that, but we got ourselves a little whip and we can easily disconnect this thing. And then what I did is I mounted a switch here okay? And there's no ground, that's why it made that noise. But basically what I did is I just split it. Oh, that might be a problem. That's what happens when you, okay. That might be why we're not getting full blast. Daggone slag melted right into the, all right, I'm gonna have to see if I can't fix that real quick. So basically I got these things I recovered from a bunch of LED lights. That's how they tap their drivers into the LED boards. And basically if I need to use the machine, all I need to do is pop this end thing up like this, and the wire comes right out, and then it's ready to go. You know, be used as a regular plasma cutter. So I just put a splice in there with a switch. I got my air dialed in. Now I'm gonna start draining these things. And I was just looking at these, kind of taking them apart to see what other things I can get out of it. This is very deceiving. That's actually steel. It's magnetic. Okay, you would think that's copper. Now, someone, if they're very shrewd, might try to throw that in as copper. This here, I need to kind of figure a way of getting this off, because to me, that's iron aluminum. It's kind of on there. That's going to be a project for down the road, but for now, that was 4 quick bolts, the same exact size bolts that I had to unscrew the actual stator out of there. Took this off and it fell right off. Nice little chunk of cast. I will be recovering all that. It's not too much out of the way. Now this one, I'm a little iffy on. This one has an even bigger piece of cast, okay? That's a nice heavy piece there, but I had to plasma cut that, and then there was 2 screws, 2 star bits, and then knock it out. Is that worth it? I don't know. But I could see if I'm doing hundreds and hundreds of these, that's gonna add up, you know? I don't know if it's worth the time. If I can get a good system down, where I'm just hitting that with the plasma cutter, throwing these to the side until I got a good pile of them up, and then, you know, I could sit there and knock those out at a later date really fast, or just have it move down the line. I don't know. We'll have to set something up for that. I'm using this thing right here. I keep touching this stuff. That's another thing. This oil is going to be a non-stop issue. I seen a guy, he plasma cut like halfway around the bottom, went up, went halfway around, and then went back down and just took off like a shell. I thought that was pretty interesting. Let's see what we got here, if there's anything worse. That might be brass in there, man. Oh, I don't know, man. Some of this stuff is, I mean, that's copper. We're gonna have to, I almost want to get out my little hydraulic cutters, because they would be perfect for cutting this stuff. Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of little cuts like this that need to be had. I don't want to be wasting blades, so an actual cutter, or even putting the jaw up here and then just coming back. I like the little cutter that I had. I thought I had it out here. I'm gonna have to get that thing back out and reseal it and put a trigger on it, because that thing is fast and you can cut 500 MCM with it, which it'll cut through this like butter. And then like for prepping, I could just come through here and zip this stuff, you know, really fast as it's draining up on the table, you know. So okay, so the next step is literally to drain these things, and I gotta check that one. We're gonna cut all the copper off. We're not gonna send no copper that's not easily accessible. I don't know if this one was drained or not. There's a hole in it. We're gonna need a bigger drain pan. There's gonna be some weird stuff like this. I think that's plastic. We might just throw that with the shred. But I'm throwing this stuff, all this stuff here, with the prepared steel. Like all this, the spring. The only thing is I will be probably pulling these little rubber feet off. I just don't want to give them any excuse to not get me prepared for it. But I'll be mixing this in with the transformer steel, the stator steel, and then like the generator stuff. So it's not going to look that bad, and it's, to me, it's prepared steel, you know. So there was some Pakistani boys. They were doing something, cutting off a portion of these and recovering silver, like I guess where these things are soldered on. They poured like a big old bar of silver out of what they did, but they were using all kinds of chemicals, and I'm not really I'm not wanting to use chemicals. So, but all these loose ones like this, that's going right with the iron aluminum, and we'll get a little cast, some prepared, and some number 2 copper. So let me get a couple of these draining. I'm gonna go finish my pizza, and then we're gonna come back and start cutting. We're gonna put this thing, oh, I gotta figure out, okay, one more step. I need to figure out a quick release. I wish there was just a clip that this thing snapped into, because I need it to snap in and locate the same spot every time. And then I am gonna need like a standoff. Now I'm thinking about, if I get that to locate every time, I think I'm gonna put the standoff on here, because I had a little bolt that was working pretty good. It was just like a machine screw. I had it zip tied to it, but the problem was when I take it off and I'm trying to get in tight with it, it just seems to be in the way. So I want my standoff to be connected to this, and yeah, I'll be able to take this in and out really fast. So we're gonna work out a couple more little details here, and then we're ready for production work. After doing a couple of them, I come to a couple conclusions. The main one is I need a better plasma cutter. This one is kind of doing the job. Also, I had to tape all this up because that hole that was in the hose I went to patch it, and then I quickly realized there's a ground cable that's inside the hose. So I fixed it. There's really no heavy pressure in that line, you know, but yeah, it's still cutting. The rotation with this plasma cutter, it's hard because this thing is hard to get to a slow speed. Right, like that speed. I mean, I'd like to be able to cut right around that speed. And that all is coming down to the plasma cutter. Okay, and then these oval ones were kind of difficult, and what I'm going to have to do is definitely I'm going to have to put this on a light spring, just enough to keep the pressure on and move about that much coming in and out. This is just too heavy. I was thinking about originally putting a spring on there, but I am going to put some type of locking mechanism on this, because when I push this into the stuff, I don't want it to be pushed away. So either I'm going to put a heavy spring on it and then use that to dial where I need it. Now the other ones, I cut a couple of them. They went easy. Those are nice because they're perfectly round. The oblong ones, the ovals, those are going to take some dialing in, and this seemed to work okay. I think it's going to work better on the completely round ones, but I'm thinking in the what I'd like to do is make something that I can remove from the top real quick to the bottom like this, and it just be a rod, either with a small wheel at the end or just a nice round. It really doesn't have to be like a bearing, but the different things and all the stuff that's in the way that could get caught up, you know, we're working out. And then I put this on here just to kind of give myself some ideas. Definitely quick release is got to be a thing. I'm not going to sit here and unbolt this. I need to get a latch on here where I can just take it off, make some quick cuts, and then like the little nuggets of copper, the air chisel was, oh, and I had a problem with my tips were kind of cooked. So, but the air chisel for cleaning these off, that's the way to go, man. Just zip around, clean them up real quick. And definitely don't forget to drain them. I forgot to drain that last one. Oh, I did one off camera. Oliver showed up over here and I showed him, but I forgot to drain it. So definitely going to need a couple stations. I think what I'm going to do is take this table that's just been sitting here doing nothing. It is a steel table that rolls around. I'm going to strip all the wood off of it, and I'm either going to use it as a pre or after the rotator. I think I might just use it as a prep station. Or it can be both, I don't know. But there's definitely got to be a table on either side of this. I would actually like this higher, probably about, you know, as high as my table, you know, because I want to smooth, I don't want to be picking things up. I want a smooth flow. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably put an I-beam, one of my I-beams like that, straight across here, so that I can grab them, put them on here, move them to the next thing, without picking them up. Because the little ones ain't bad. Those big ones, I'm not going to want to sit here, and I'm not talking about these. I don't think I'm going to get a whole ton of these, but these style here, yeah, I'm not going to want to pick them up, and neither is anyone else. We got to get into a production mode. And then I got to figure out where I'm going to put this. I think I'm going to put it back there, right next to the door. Today we had a nice breeze, so everything was blowing right out the door. So far there is some kinks to work out, but I am happy with everything that's going on. Now, I didn't get a chance to try the other ones. They worked good when I was just holding the trigger. I think with the switch, everything's going to be fine. So I got to get out of here for now, and we'll be back first thing in the morning. Oliver's going to help me. We're going to go pick up something real quick. Then we're going to come back. I'm just going to blow through all of these units. I got a ton of electric motors around here, and I got 4 generators to process. We got a bunch of wire to process. I got some 1500 watt transformers to process. So hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, we should have a big pile of copper between number 1 and Bright and Shiny, and a big pile of steel for the steel trailer out there. All right, we're back at it now. We got Oliver over here, the greatest electrician to ever set foot in Florida. I'm gonna blow through these real quick, but the problem is Oliver's using the 220. The electric in this shop is just crap, man. I only got one major 220 outlet, although maybe I can use that. Yeah, oh no, I can't. Oh yeah, I can. So that plug for that compressor is the same size as my extension cord. I'll just plug in the Ingersoll Rand. So instead of using this compressor, we'll use this compressor. All right, we can get some scrapping done. We're gonna let Oliver run this wire, throw it in this bin, and I'm gonna get back on this AC stuff. All right, I'm gonna get this set up over here. While I'm doing that, you can have fun with Oliver over here. tell you where we're going. Right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dancing before? Underneath here, this 80-year-old guy is moving to England. So he got a Connex. We'll let that be a surprise.